Is Final Fantasy Tactics the best Final Fantasy? Well, it's my personal favorite, so certainly I think so. So it goes without saying that when the remaster, Ivalice Chronicles, was announced, I got so excited. And now it's here. But does it keep the spirit of what made this PS1 classic special? Let's find out in the review. Final Fantasy Tactics Ivalice Chronicles keeps the same story as the original PS1. We follow protagonist Ramza Beowulf, a noble of the famed military family, the Beowulfs. He attends a knight academy with his best friend Delita, a commoner whom the Beowulf family has taken in along with his sister. During their time at the academy, they were dispatched to deal with a band of thieves terrorizing the local populace. This unassuming, seemingly mundane task would then lead Ramza and Delita down a dark rabbit hole full of political intrigue, conspiracy, and social conflict. Again, Final Fantasy Tactics is my favorite Final Fantasy, and I might be glazing here, but I don't care. It's one of the best stories that the series has to offer. In Tactics, we go through one of the series' darkest, most real and mature storylines. While a lot of the games at the time would portray medieval fantasy settings in a more romantic light, with royal families being bastions of goodness like Princess Zelda or the Guardia royalty of Chrono Trigger, Tactics chose to show a more historical portrayal of medieval power structures. Deceit, manipulation, exploitation, and conspiracy are the bread and butter of the Tactics story. And at the center of all this drama is Ramza. We see the events of the game through his eyes, and I'd say he provides a perfect viewpoint to experience the story and the themes that it wants to explore. Politics, corruption of the powerful, social stratification, all unfolding in the eyes of a bastard son of a noble, who is best friends with a commoner with a very idealistic, innocent, naive view of the world because of his upbringing. At the start, we see him totally unaware of how the world around him operates, and we see him grow with each harsh reality check, maturing as the story progresses. The characters surrounding Ramza are no slouches either. They all bring unique perspectives that further flesh out the world of Ivalice. Delita's character development especially keeps you wondering what happens next. Even antagonists feel relatable, not because I personally relate to some of them, but because they feel grounded, like you probably had the misfortune of either meeting someone like them in real life, or at the very least, seeing someone like them on the news some point in your life. Or in the case of Vigraf and Mliuda, you can very much understand why they're doing the things they do. Again, very grounded and understandable. A lot of the themes that they tackle are very relevant even in today's world. Truly a timeless classic. Though I wish it weren't timeless, because if only we could be over social stratification and corrupt politicians in the near future. Know what I mean? QOLs that Ivalice Chronicles added don't just apply to the gameplay, but they also apply to the story, as they've added State of the Realm. This feature was first introduced in Final Fantasy XVI, and it gives you a nice textual and visual summary of the story so far. It'd be very useful for busy adults who take quite a long while away from their games from time to time. I think they made this for the original fans who probably have backaches in 5 different parts of their backs by now. Final Fantasy Tactics is considered one of the best PS1 games, and it's probably because of its really well implemented job system. I always like to say that in TRPGs, most of the battle is decided in the menus, and that's especially true with Tactics. While you won't be spending as much time in its menus like you would in, let's say, Unicorn Overlord with its intricate conditional action settings, the job system will keep you there for a while anyway. So we all know about RPGs and gaining EXP to level up and get better. Tactics also has that, but alongside it, they also have jobs. I'm sorry, did the J word send you into a fit? Well, deal with it, cause I ain't censoring it. So jobs are basically your classes, and there are a total of 38 of them. They all have their own unique playstyles, sometimes maybe a little too unique, as some are super situational like the late game mime, or a certain sibling duo's default class. The job system is very engaging, and it's the reason why I keep grinding and not progressing the story. A specific character isn't just locked into one job. Throughout the game, you can change your job as you please, and as your strategies dictate. Your job also levels up as you battle and get job points. You get job points for the specific job you have on your character. However, there is some point spillover to jobs you're not using. You can spend job points to learn the skills of that specific job. Some skills are offensive, some are support, some are just passives. And here's where the fun part comes in. When you learn the skills, you can equip them even after changing over to a different job. This allows for so much customization and personalization in your character's skill set. For example, monks are glass cannons. They hit hard, but they also hit the ground hard if you're not careful. So if you have the equip heavy armor skill from the knight job, you can put that on your monk to somewhat mitigate that squishiness. This is just a very simple example of how the system works, as you can go ham with mixing and matching the plethora of skills at your disposal with the various jobs. And of course, for people who love tinkering around, it's a great game for that. While I did say that TRPG battles are decided in the menus, the actual battle portion is also equally fun. Like a lot of the usual TRPGs, tactics combat is turn-based and set on a grid. You decide which units are deployed at the start, usually about 5 units. Once you've dispatched your units, you strategically move them turn by turn around the battlefield to get into optimal positions to use your abilities to take out the enemy forces. Seems simple enough, but the maps aren't all flat and they can have varying levels of verticality. All skills have a set range, and this range doesn't just consider the number of blocks you can cast away from yourself, it also considers height. So that means even just a little height change can have an effect on the AoE of the skill you want to use. That's not even talking about the differences in terrain, as water can affect how you act, poisonous swamps will have you thinking twice about where you land on the map, etc. So there really is a lot to consider as well when you're planning out your battles, which keeps things engaging. Outside of battles, you're also given errands that you can undertake at taverns. They are pretty much the same system as the originals. You choose a party of 3 to part from the main party to go on a quest for a few days. After they come back, they'll receive job points if they're successful. Since you can only bring 5 in an actual battle, this is a great way to send your least used units to get stronger, or on the contrary, send your most used units to give more chance for other units to appear in battles in the meantime. Compared to the original, there are quite a few QOLs that they added. One of the bigger ones is fast forwarding in battle and being able to shoo away random encounters, or on the other end, purposefully engage in battles for the sake of grinding. Both fast forwarding and being able to purposefully engage is great for grinding for obvious reasons, and I love it. I remember having to walk back and forth between dangerous areas and cities just waiting for an encounter back in the day. Having the ability to step on a battlefield, press a button, and have a choice to fight or not is a very welcome addition. You can also now easily see your job unlock requirements in the chart here, making it easy to plan out which jobs you want to go for. I really appreciate these QOL changes because without them, playing and grinding would feel like such a chore, even though I loved the original. Speaking about how much I love the original, the game also comes with a choice to play the OG version if that's more your style, and the choice to include it is much appreciated. Playing the enhanced version, the clean pixel style graphics on 3D environments are charming and easy on the eyes. It's not incredibly detailed like the other HD 2Ds that Square Enix has been doing lately, but it doesn't have to be. It adds to that nostalgic charm. Of course, not to be beat by the classic version as well, whose HD remastered sprites offer a glimpse into the past, fully rendered for the modern day. One of the first things I actually noticed was the remade UI is super clean, super easy to understand, and I appreciated that so much. The additional animated cutscenes are also incredibly well done, fit in with the original's art style, and look great. Its music score screams classic Final Fantasy and is simply pleasant to the ears. Sound design in battles is well done with crisp and immersive sound effects. The full voice acting really gives the characters more depth, and they're all done phenomenally, both the English and the Japanese.
Become a knight worthy of your name. Tolerate no injustice.
Though sometimes I do miss the old school echoey, reverby death wails. Rina Sato's performance as Agrias definitely caught my ear with how dignified yet scary she can sound. Also, she would remind me of Velvet from Berseria every once in a while. Miluda's impassioned speeches to Ramza also had a lot more emotional impact than if it was just me reading the text. Final Fantasy Tactics is a well-loved classic for a reason. Its gameplay is fun and offers a lot of variety and customizability for players who really love to play around with builds. The QOL changes make grinding a lot less of a chore. Its story is top-notch and is still highly relevant to this day, with amazing, memorable characters all around. The story is then enhanced with fully voiced story sequences, making iconic scenes even more emotionally impactful. All of this comes at $50 USD, which I think is a fair price for those either wanting to relive this legendary game or someone who's just stumbling onto this masterpiece for the first time. So without further ado, we're giving Final Fantasy Tactics a 94. Those were our thoughts on Final Fantasy Tactics, the Ivalice Chronicles. But enough about us. What about you? What are your thoughts on the game? Did you play the original on the PS1? Which is your favorite job and why? Tell us in the comments below. Personally, I like Monk because punchy boy. Thanks for watching. Like if you liked, subscribe for more video game reviews and other video game related content. This has been Game 8, and we'll see you next time.